Hey guys, I hope everyone's well. Please ignore my background. This is definitely not my usual content. But I want to make y'all aware of some things that have developed in the last year, but I've not come out and talked about. I am very aware that a lot of y'all saw the video that I put up last year about the GoFundMe page. This video is referencing that, as well as going further and deeper into what caused that GoFundMe page and what people are still doing now. So as y'all know, starting back in 2023, I moved here in February of 2023. I made a video about this already, but I'm going to touch upon this really quickly again. For those of you who don't know, we had an individual move in with me when I moved, that goes by Queen Liz on social media. Her phone name is Elizabeth, and she moved with me back in 2023, like I said. After she... The day that she left our house, we found out that the day before, she had gone to a family member of mine and basically said, because I got told no, I'm going to make up a story that Brandon physically violated me. I'm going to use the word physically violate in this video because I do not like the R word. We just don't say those things. So she went around for the longest time saying that Brandon physically violated her, which he did not. Me and Jessica are sighted enough to know whether she was actually doing that or not, and we have no evidence of him ever doing that to her. So fast forward to 2024. Doug and Madeline move in. Doug had already been to Brandon's house twice. Once in 2015. Ew. Try it again. 2015 and again in 2022. Those are things that I've only been told about, so I will not speak on them. If you have any questions about that, though, however, you can let me know, and I will make a separate video with the individuals that do know about that incident. However, in 2024, actually, the end of 2023, Madeline came here, and then Doug came like a month or two later. That was interesting. Doug refused to help around the house unless it was, with somebody, and he was like, oh, well, I can't do the dishes all by myself, or things like that. That turned into he was spending money on things that we could have used for food and other things. Like, he had several phones through AT&T or through T-Mobile that he was paying way too much for and really didn't need all of them. He wasn't using his money right. I was always complaining about, oh, well, why can't I get the food that I like, and why are we always having to eat this way and that way, and one time he had spilled soda, and he was like, well, I'm not cleaning it up. I don't have to help out. And then going towards like the February, March area, Brandon has gotten really, really sick. Both due to a infection and then subsequently due to medications that he was not supposed to be on. Well, one medication he was not supposed to be on, and an antibiotic that messed him up in ways that, well, I never knew an antibiotic could mess you up. Anyways, guess you live and learn. But so, his girlfriend Madeline had thought that she saw black mold, and with that knowledge and just the fact that Doug couldn't stand Brandon, they said, all right, we have to get out of here. Well, that was kind of transpiring behind all of our back prior to when we actually left in March. In February, there was an incident that I was present for, mind you, where we had asked Doug to help out with making Brandon some lunch because I was not. Alright, let's not stutter in our videos. Because I wasn't medically feeling well, we had asked Doug to help out, and he flipped absolute crap. Like the whole, why do I always have to do this, and blah, 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 and the third. I basically told him stop acting like my mother. He yelled at me, and then proceeded to grab Brandon's girlfriend, Jessica, and his girlfriend, and, grab them in that I'm gonna threaten and hurt you manner. What I remember, he twisted Brandon's finger in the whole process. So that was traumatic. Watching him put his hands on two girls in front of me. And then that led to the whole March incident where Madeline thought she saw black mold, which we learned later that it wasn't black mold. She was just spewing stuff. So I was also having a bad mental health spiral. For those of you who know, and for those of you who don't, I do have borderline personality disorder, as well as major depression and generalized anxiety. And I was having a very bad borderline spiral. Like, bad, and I mean bad, like, it went on and off for like a year or more. That one spiral just lasted for way too long. So, Brandon was like, I'm sick, I'm not feeling good, and part of my borderline was getting frustrated that, he wasn't really doing much to, figure out what we should do. And so when they said, when Doug and Madeline came to me and Jess and said, he's not doing what he needs to do, like, what do we do? And I was like, well, we gotta do what we need to do to stay safe. So we left, leaving him all alone by himself. The night before we left, Doug was forcing Brandon to take a medicine he was definitely allergic to. But he didn't care. Madeline really didn't care either. And we left. Me, Jess, Doug, Madeline, my dog Radar, and our cat Maya. And that is where the GoFundMe page came from. While we were there, there was an incident that I actually caught because it happened right behind me. So I had been struggling with George. For those of you who know, for those of you who don't, George was my boyfriend from 2018 to 2019, and again from 22 to 23. He abused me verbally, mentally, psychologically. He also kind of abused me verbally or physically. But that, just keep that in mind for later on in the story that he abused me physically, and I'll explain how. But yeah, so I was struggling because I had just gotten back in contact with George after we had split in 2023. Because of my borderline, I kind of thought it was their fault. Come to realize and learn later it wasn't. And they, so I was struggling with being friends with him again and wanting to be in a relationship with him, and him being with another girl and things like that. So I needed a lot of Jess's time, and so I was spending a lot of time with Doug and Madeline and Jess around them. Doug had a big issue with that, like, why is she always around? And when I would speak up because they were loud enough for me to hear, they'd be like, or Doug would be like, just stay out of it. And I remember telling him one time, I was like, Doug, How can I not reply to something that you're being loud enough for me to hear? If you didn't want me to reply, then you shouldn't have been that loud. And so I was sitting eating my food one night, minding my own darn business, when I catch on to them two getting into it. Doug and Madeline. Or Doug and Jess. And not fighting. I mean, he was violating her right behind me. And from what I'm made to believe or to be aware, they stopped when they noticed I was right behind them. Madeline was standing right there, not doing anything about it. And then the next day was all sad and depressed and all this stuff. Now, okay, I know Jess's history with men and stuff like that. But I thought, I don't know, maybe she liked him and was felt safe enough. I don't know. Some weird crap like that. Now, mind you, I was still in my spiral in a way. Well, Jess got out, and I came back in May or June. May. And after that, it was so hard to get Brandon to, out of flashbacks, out of feeling like he needed to do everything for the house because he had been here for a month by himself. With no help. And so we are healing from that as a family. Fast forward to late June, beginning of July. We move in Micaiah. Who was very disrespectful. She didn't get up and do the dishes. She allowed her boyfriend to fat shame Jessica. Whenever I told her to turn it down, turn the volume of your voice down, she did not respect. When we would take time for ourselves in the back of the house, she would come and open the door without permission. During this time, I found the love of my life. His story with me will be important in a little bit. So keep George and July of 2024 in y'all's mind. Micaiah was going out on the porch, talking about us, And she had a plan for us to leave again. Mind you, I was still in my borderline spiral, so I kind of just felt fed up with, just fed up with a lot of things. And so we kicked her out not too long after she got here. The flashbacks are still there for Brandon and for Jess, and we're still trying to get over that. Now, throw another wrench into this. January of this year, my boyfriend and I break up. We find out during that breakup that Doug and Madeline told him that I wanted to get back with George. Now, here's the problem with that. My boyfriend was aware, maybe not to the degree he thought he was, or the degree that I thought he was either, that my ex, George, had emotionally, mentally, and at that point, physically hurt me. Now, how did he physically hurt me? He physically hurt me because he forced me to do an illegal substance. And instead of making sure I was okay, he left at 6 o'clock the next morning. So, there was that. Now, what did all that come from? Brandon had been getting word that some people were having relationship problems, and he, being the kind soul that he is, tried to help out. And he really didn't want part in it, and he addressed one of the people, and she got mad and flipped out and whatever. So he got on Team Talk one day, and Anthony Serio, which is another person that you need to be careful of, because he not only he put his hands on his mom, he dates younger girls. He also is a spreader of false information without getting the facts. And he's friends with Doug and Madeline. So, go figures. Well, then that spreads into Doug and Madeline going around saying that Brandon physically violated her while she was here, which he did not. Me and Jessica are excited enough to know that he didn't do anything like that. I think at one point Micaiah also had said that he had physically violated her, which he didn't. And videos went up all about him on TikTok by Brie Hannigan, about, be careful of Brandon Hannes. If you all saw those videos, those are fake. And so, and then Savannah. Savannah's in this mess because she took stuff that my ex from 2024 was telling her and basically twisting it around to saying that he said it about me. About how he didn't want to have anything to do with me and he didn't want to get back with me, and she's also now going around saying that Brandon's medical conditions are fake, which they're not because we see him every single day. She's going around gloating, oh, I blocked this person, and bringing their, boyfriends and girlfriends and other people into it about, oh, this person's arrogant, or, things like that. So, please, 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 be careful with who you hang around. This blind community is not as safe as y'all think it is. I mean, there are some safe people, but there are more unsafe people than there are otherwise. And then, through the whole entire process, we find out that Micaiah's boyfriend was recording us without our permission. There's a lot of people in the community that do that too. So just please be careful. If anyone needs physical evidence with the whole Savannah stuff or whatever, there's a lot of evidence that we have, including Madeline after she goes one end saying, oh, he physically violated me, and then coming to us being like, oh, I miss you and I want to move back in with you, and things like that. And we have evidence of that. So if anyone needs to see anything, but I will tell you this to end this video. Y'all thought you could break my relationship, which you did. But me and my ex in 2024 are so much closer now as friends after everything that you've done to us both. Me, Jess, and Brandon are a lot closer now after everything you've done to all 5 of us. I just want y'all to know, I'm not the psychotic individual y'all claim me to be. I have a life. I have people that support me. And I would appreciate y'all leaving people alone. And for those of you who are, please be careful of your surroundings.